let's just take a look at the y-intercept. Here's my y-axis. Remember, the y-intercept is this point where my line and the y-axis touch. If I have a vertical line, that will never happen. It is never going to touch this y-axis. In fact, these two lines are, think of the word when we have two lines that are always the same distance apart and never touch. It begins with a P. They are parallel. So we will never have a y-intercept. It's not zero, right? We could have a y-intercept, a line that hits the y-axis right at the point 0, 0. That could be. That's not what this is. So don't ever put the y-intercept as just 0. We'll just say for a vertical line, B, our y-intercept, it doesn't have one, or does not exist. So there's our first problem. Our second problem, if you want to think of it as a problem, is the slope. If I have a vertical line like this and I find the slope, and let's, just for this example to get used to it, use our slope formula, the formula to find the slope, and we'll see what happens to our fraction. So we said that this point was 3, 0, and we said that this point was 3, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 2 points, 3, 0, and 3, negative 4. Just for the sake of room on the paper, I'll do this up here. So of course, to find the slope, my slope m is equal to y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2, which in this case is going to be 0 minus negative 4 all over 3 minus 3, which comes out to be 4 over 0. Now, think back to when you learned about fractions. Whenever you have a 0 in the denominator of a fraction, our fraction is not equal to 0. In fact, it's not equal to anything. We say it's not defined. So not only for vertical lines do they have a y-intercept that does not exist, they have a slope that is not defined. It is not defined. When we use the slope formula, there is a 0 in the denominator of the fraction. So that's a problem. We need to write the equation a little bit differently. It can be done, but we can't do it the same old way that we've been, with the same old formula we've been using, because of these two problems. So mathematicians, they were creative and they came up with a new way to write these equations. When we have a vertical line, instead of saying y equals something, y equals 3, or y equals, in a separate example, maybe 1/2 x plus 12, or whatever it is, they said, hey, we can't do that because we don't have a y-intercept. So instead of saying y equals, we'll just say x equals. And if you notice, any point along this line, although the y value is changing, x is always going to be what? So for instance, if I take a point and I put a point here, my y value, it's not going to be 0, it's not going to be negative 4, it's changing, right? But x is still going to be 3. If I put a point way up here, y, it's going to be different. It's not negative 4, it's not 0, it's not 2, it's changing. It's going to be, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. But x is still going to be 3. X is always 3. So if when you write the equation of a vertical line, we just use whatever x coordinate is always the same. In this case, it's just x equals 3. So just to compare, the equation of a horizontal line, y equals whatever the y-intercept is. Equation of a vertical line, x equals whatever our x-intercept is. And when I say x-intercept, just like the y-intercept, it's just the point where this line and the x-axis touch. All right, I think we're ready to try one on our own. So let's say I have a vertical line and it goes through the point -2, 0. Okay, so I've got a point here. It is -2, 0. I'll put another point up here somewhere. It doesn't really matter as long as it's a straight up and down line. Connect the two. Okay, take a minute now and just think, using the example, using everything we've talked about, if you can write down the equation for this vertical line. All right, hopefully you said the equation of this line is just plain old x equals -2, because that is the point where this line intercepts the x-axis. All right, so think to yourself, our two goals for this lesson: I can write the equation of horizontal lines, I can write the equation of vertical lines. If you feel pretty confident about that, just go ahead and put a check next to those two things. All right, so here are some examples for you to try on your own. Got 4 lines. In your notebook, either on the next page or at the bottom of your notes, just go ahead and label 1, 2, 3, and 4. So later when I check, I know which is which. And write the equation for, you have 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. When you're done with this, you can take the rest of class. You do have a new IXL assignment. Your new IXL assignment is R4 and R5. Also keep in mind that the marking period, our trimester, is over on Friday. So if you have any back work that needs to be handed in or redone, the absolute deadline is Friday. So if you have any other IXL assignments that you've not finished, or if the grades are not where you would like them to be, make sure that you get them done by Friday, because that's when all of our grades have to be in. All right, so take a minute, write the equation of these 4 lines, and then get right back to work on your IXL or any other homework assignments that you might have. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.